Bam, 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 Mr. Stevie's toils. Yeah, yeah. Give me a T, give me a R, give me an O, give me a N. What does that give us? Tron. 1982 Disney movie that clearly was an attempt to cash in on the success of Star Wars. Amazing movie, like revolutionary, complete revolutionary. Sees Kevin Flynn, wronged computer programmer hacker, gets sucked into a computer world to join with Tron, which is a program, to take over the MCP Master Control program, who is running this computer but also wants to start hacking into the Pentagon and take over the world with his right-hand man, Sark. And there's the story in a nutshell. As I said, it was completely revolutionary. It combined backlit animation with live action and CG. Rumor has it uses about, I think, 15 minutes of CG in the movie in total. And the big rumor is that the computer they used to render it out had 2 megabytes of RAM and 300 megabytes of storage to render out those 15 minutes of pure CG for Tron the movie in 1982. My goodness. I don't think there is I'm looking around, any type of electrical device that has less RAM and memory than that we use nowadays. Absolutely incredible. So I think it's fair to say that Tron back in 82 was a medium success for Disney. It didn't blow up and become a cultural phenomenon like Star Wars did, but it did well. $17 million budget. It took in 50 million global and an extra 70 million in merch, which was pretty good from a very small product line, I'll be honest with you, from our good friends at Tomy, which we'll take a lot harder look at in a minute. It did very well, but it didn't spawn a sequel until 2010 with Tron Legacy, and then obviously we had Tron Uprising animated. We had one series of that in 2012, which spanned the stories, spanned the 2 episodes, I guess what you want to call it. But it didn't become that big cultural juggernaut. It's a cult classic, absolutely undeniable. I think that's basically because of the visuals and how incredible it is. The story is good. Guy gets sucked into a computer world, but I was missing, as I rewatched it, I was missing the real world threat. I wanted to see a little bit more of war games in there, where the MCP was threatening to hack into the Pentagon, but it was all kind of contained within the computer world. I'd like to have seen Bit in it a lot more. That sort of yes, no, I thought was a really good comedy foil and could have been used a lot, but it was used like in one scene. Soundtrack, thought the music was very kind of reminiscent of like Vangelis, that sort of synthesizer and electronic music, but it didn't have a theme. I could, if you ask me now, I couldn't hum it. I'll try later, I'm sure, but I couldn't. If I was put on the spot now, I couldn't really hum it. So it was great and it was a cult classic, but it didn't kind of become the thing that maybe Disney wanted it to be. But it warms the hearts now, and as we look through the toys, those toys are just like something out of out of this world. And I think that's the thing to remember about Tron. It was like kids were like, "What is this? Like, what is this? I don't know what this is, but I like it. It looks amazing. What are these toys? Oh my goodness!" I remember going to see it. I went with I was in Thorpe Soken, and you'll know where Thorpe Soken is by now, and there's my room. And I went with my friend Bryce Lennon. Hiya, Bryce. And we went to Clacton. And I remember going to this theatre. I think it's called the Century Theatre now, still. And it was round. I remember it being round. And we went in there. It was 50 pence to go. I remember because I had the 50p in my hand. And I remember going with Bryce and his brother and sisters, his mum and dad, and we went and saw it. And I remember thinking, what have I just seen? Like, I don't know what it is, but it is wicked. And I love it. And I think that's the overriding memory of Tron for me and thousands of other people. Just this visual of this different world. So, very impressive. But hey, let's stop talking about the story and the movie, and let's maybe, perhaps, Steve, get into the toys a little bit more, shall we? Tomy Japan got the license to produce a small number of toys to tie into the 1982 movie, comprising of 4 figures. We had Flynn, Sark, Tron, and Warrior. And then they also produced these incredible light cycles. We have Tron's orange light cycle and Flynn's yellow light cycle. Sadly for us, because the movie didn't really ignite at the box office, Tomy never had the opportunity to go forward and make any more subsequent waves of this incredibly eye-catching toy line. Bad news for us. Oh well. That said, we jump ahead to 2002. NECA came to the rescue and produced a 20th anniversary line for Tron, where they reproduced the 4 original Tron figures, and they did 3 light cycles, introducing 2 color variants that were seen in the movie but not from Tony. They introduced the red and the blue. They also molded the figures that came with the light cycles in black and added new variants of the actual deco colors, which are really, really cool. They also released a really smart, very expensive Warrior preview figure in a baggie back in the day that goes for a lot of money on eBay. Now, while I love this line, if we look closely, there are a few weird oddities going on. You'll see that Flynn is assigned to the blue bike, which in the movie is driven by the bad guy units. Flynn drove the yellow bike. Sark was added to the red cycle, and he wasn't even in that sequence. And the red cycle was driven by Ram, which we probably could have had as a redeco pretty easily. And Tron is assigned to the yellow bike, which, as we know, is Flynn's bike. Tron had the orange one. So I'd love to have seen a blue bike with a bad guy unit. With a new redeco, or if Sark had to be in this, put him with the blue one. The red bike should have been with Ram as a redeco, and the yellow bike should have been with Flynn with that cool black deco. But you know what? It doesn't really matter, because if you look at the movie, the colors are all over the place already. I mean, when the movie starts, the good guys are all very blue and the bad guys are very red, which makes perfect sense. But then the bad guys at the light cycle sequence are in the blue cycles, and the good guys are in the red, orange, and yellow kind of red spectrum bikes, which was confusing. And then they're being chased by tank pilots, who are bad guys, who have got blue costumes. And it gets very, very confusing. So I would throw it all up in the air and just say, colors are everywhere. But I guess at the end of the day, you know, Vader was black, but his stormtroopers were white. So, gosh, it's so confusing. But anyway, great movie, just a little weird on the old color schemes. Now, the only Tron figure I actually had back in the day was Sark, was this one. I loved it. And I used to play it a lot with my Star Wars figures. You can see he stands a little bit taller than a Stormtrooper. He's about 4 inches high. But he used to often be my right hand to Vader. So I used to play with him a lot in my Star Wars play. But I lost this glow-in-the-dark disc, which you can see there. Just about. I lost that in about 2 seconds. You'll notice that it doesn't come with a peg. It has a hole in the middle, because on the back there's a hole here that they're meant to plug into, but the Sark one for some reason didn't have a pin, but I have one here that you can now plug into the back. And there he is complete, you see. So you'll see that there were 2 versions. I haven't quite worked out why. I'm still hunting as to reason, but one came with a peg and one came without a peg. Let's just take a pause there and examine these all-important glow-in-the-dark discs, shall we? You'll see the top one from Tomy doesn't have a peg, and that one came with Sark most of the time, but the rest of the figures came with the one in the middle, which is the one with the peg. And I'm asked a lot, because these are small, I'm asked a lot, how do I know if I've got a NECA one from 2002 or an original Tomy one from 1982? Well, it's very easy to find out. The one in the middle from Tomy from 1982 has a flat end on its peg, and the one from NECA from 2002 has a pointed one. And so thank you, NECA, for making that easy to spot, because that would be difficult otherwise. Next up is our cocksure hero, Kevin Flynn. You'll see in his beautiful blue translucent. It comes with the identity disc with peg, I hasten to add. You'll notice in the movie and on this, he has this sort of tunic area, which I'm going to guess designates the sort of slave status of him as he's kind of sucked into the computer to battle against Crom in the arena. That's what I'm going to guess. And it also helps differentiate between him and Tron. Now, while the good guys are blue, when you watch the movie, you'll see that their costumes are more sort of whitish, grayish, kind of creamy color, with the computer circuitry motifs on their costumes being the thing that's blue. So I took this image and whacked it into Photoshop and went, if I was going to make this more screen accurate, what would I do? And I would do this. Maybe we would shoot the main body mold in a clearer, almost white, maybe slightly grey, smoky plastic, but then keep the blue circuitry deco print. It's more movie accurate, but at the end of the day, I kind of like what Tomy did, and they went full throttle with colour, so I'm happy with the blue. Now, while in the movie Tron was the same colour as Flynn, on toy it's a much more luxurious purple. New deco scheme. Here he is. I have him with his disc, of course. Pop that in there. There you are. Great colour, I love it. It's got a little bit of scuffing there. Never mind. But one interesting thing is that the body mould of Tron and Flynn are exactly the same, just a different cast colour and then obviously deco application. Hence the reason why one needs to be blue and one needs to be purple, so they can differentiate, so you know which are your heroes. Now I've been looking for a warrior loose for months and months and months, and I haven't been able to find one. The thing that scares me is that these discs here, there's lots of repros out there, and they're easy to spot that they're repros. They just look staggered. There's so much detail in there. But these staffs that come with the warriors are pretty straight, and I always worry that they're going to be repros, and I don't like repros. So I had to go away, and I had to buy this in-pack warrior to ensure that I had the correct and original staff. But I don't keep them on pack, so got to open this little beauty. There he is. Oh, look at that deco, so minty fresh. Oh, not as fresh. He's leaching a bit. Yep, he's a little bit sticky on his legs. The oxygen will soon hopefully burn that off. There we are. We can see on these ones it does have Japan printed on, so there is some differentiation. But I'm happy just to get it and be sure that it's real and genuine. And now I have this video that will act as provenance that this is in fact an original warrior. 1982, Tron. Look at him. Beautiful. Now, I wasn't that heartbroken about taking the figure off the pack because, if I'm honest, the Tron card back, I don't really like that much. I find the artwork bad, even for retro days. But the backer pack's really cool. And you'll notice that on the backer pack, the prototypes they use had painted faces, which were very distinctive and pretty spooky, if I'm quite honest. But it is interesting to see how early prototypes can often change as they move through the manufacturing process. For a little bit of fun, as I threw this card back away, I asked my friend Chris at Kingogram on Instagram to develop me a new retro Tron card that I'd be proud to display. Just look at this beauty. It also got me thinking about what other products could have Tomy have made if the movie had been more of a success. Imagine if we got Clue and Bit, or we got Ram. We should have had a Yuri. I'd love to have had Dumont in his chair, or a Iolai two-pack with Flynn and Crom. How about Flynn in his disguise, or data pushers from the tower? I'd have even liked to have seen Alan, Flynn and Laura Real World 3-pack. Why didn't we get a recognizer, or a tank for that matter? I think Sark's carrier might have been a bit too large, but we could have had a Solar Sailor for sure. And of course, an incredible MCP playset. The possibilities could have been endless. But we did get one of cinema's most iconic bikes, the Light Cycle. You'll notice it often gets a little bit dirty on the back wheel. But if we open that up, there's a little space there for our Flynn, because Flynn drives the yellow one. Slide him in. I never had the bike as a kid, and why doesn't that fit? No, why isn't that not going in? Maybe his hands have got to go inside. No. Why doesn't this work? Malfunction. Evans cannot compute. It shows that I didn't have this as a kid, didn't it? I can't squeeze him in there anymore. Hang on, maybe the arms come out. Okay, the arms come up and over those bits. Okay, well done, Steve. Back online. There we are, the Light Cycle. Let's try it out. Now, sadly, during the filming of this Light Cycle demonstration sequence, which didn't work very well, my trusty Light Cycle ripcord broke. I would like to thank it for its service and take a moment to remember it. So to cheer myself up, let's open some cards. I love opening these. Seems to be a regular occurrence on All Toy Tales. See what we got. Now, if I remember correctly, in each of these packs, you got like a sticker with like a score sheet that would link into the Tron game that was out at the time. Look at those graphics. Wonderful. So we've got Tron in that. I think that's when he rejigged that recognizer. It's the blue light cycle. Oh, there's Crom. Oh no, poor old Crom. He was just about before he died. Oh yeah, that's a great image. I love that image. It's the recognizer coming out. Flynn fixes it. Kind of a bit of key art. Just look at those costumes. I've never seen anything like them. Yeah, how good guys. And of course a bit of battling there. And do I open another one? I've only got 2. I think I'll keep that one for later. Now for something super rare. Tron Viewmaster in packs. These reels are super rare and I had to buy it in a box because I couldn't find them anywhere else. But you know me, I had to open it, but I am opening it slightly sneakily because I don't want to rip this one open because I do actually really like the card on this one. But I'd never had these, I've never seen them, and I would imagine a lot of you haven't actually seen what's on these discs. So what kind of friend would I be if I didn't show you? So what we're going to do, we're going to use the magic of my Viewmaster Rama technique. Grab my Viewmaster, slot it in, and I'm going to show you, maybe for the first time, what's on the Tron reels. So there we are. Hope you've enjoyed episode 6 of Mr. Stevie's Tall Toy Tales, Tron edition. Small collection, but had fun exploring it and learning a little bit more about it and kind of rewatching Tron. I hadn't seen it for a while, to be honest with you. And idiot. You know what I haven't done? I'm just about to sign off and I haven't done the one thing that I was looking forward to doing the most when doing this episode, which was taking those incredible translucent figures, chucking some light behind them, grabbing my DSLR and doing some fancy poncy photography. I almost signed off and forgot to do it. So scrap this as a closing scene. Let's go and look at some cool, sexy photography. Boom, boom. What time is it? Giveaway time. This week's giveaway is Flynn's yellow light cycle. Look at it, wonderful. I'm going to give you this without a ripcord, unfortunately, because I broke it. I'd like you to firstly like this IGTV episode. Then in the comments, I'd like you to tag a friend and answer this question. How much did I pay to go and see Tron in 1982? I repeat, how much did I pay to go and see Tron in 1982? Scroll back, find out the details, answer in the comments, tag a friend, and like this episode. And I will randomly select a winner on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Okay, good luck. Hope you enjoyed this episode. And all that's left to say is...
End of line.